All right, so in the previous video, we worked on using HTML. Now let's work on how we actually integrate JavaScript or TypeScript in here. So far, we haven't seen much difference, actually any difference between JavaScript and TypeScript. I don't think we will in this one either. We'll probably get to that in the future. It'll basically pop up whenever we need it. But let's talk about including JavaScript into our HTML. Let's say, for example, let's just make another thing outside of this table. Let's make this a paragraph. And we'll say pi equals, and I don't remember a lot of digits of pi. There it is. But let's say I want to use a better approximation here. I can actually use math pi, which is a built-in JavaScript function or object for math, and then we can get something like pi. There we go. Much more accurate. Very important to be accurate. 3.1459265. Okay, so we have pi. We can do that kind of stuff. Another thing we can do is have variables up here. Let's say for some reason I just don't remember the days of the week. I don't remember which one comes after the previous one. So let's see, I have, let's do a Monday through Sunday schedule. So we'll say days of week. Now, normally, in normal JavaScript, this would be fine. Monday, Tuesday. Actually, let's do Sunday. I don't want people getting upset. So let's do our Sunday through Saturday calendar. Monday. Okay. Now, normally this would be fine, but we can't in React, when we're using JavaScript and declaring variables, we have to put something in front of it. It's not the same as Java where we put the type. We just have to declare whether this is a constant variable or a mutable variable. If it's a constant variable, we use const. And if it's mutable, we use let. Now for the days of the week, that's constant. Those shouldn't change too often. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay, so now my days of the week here. Now, instead of this, I'm going to say, okay, well, I know it's the second day of the week that I work. I can't remember what that's called. I think it's named, after Mars or something. I don't know. I'm so confused right now. Let's go ahead and grab. So if I just type days of week 1, it's literally just going to put days of week 1 here. So I have to wrap this in curly braces because it's JavaScript. Hey, there we go. Okay, good. Ooh, I forgot what the second one was called too. So let's go ahead and use JavaScript for that. For the third day of the week, days of week 2. There we go, Tuesday. Obviously, this is not a practical use case, but you can imagine there's a lot of use cases where we would have a list and we would need to grab things from that and put that into our HTML code. You can see that's very, very easy. We can even have functions. So let's make a function. We're going to have a function called greet. And that's going to, this might be our first use of TypeScript. It's going to have a name of who you want to greet. And then it's going to return. Now, this is called, in JavaScript, this is called a template literal. We use these backticks. And then inside of here, we can say hello, and then $ curly bracket name. And we're going to return hello name. Now, it doesn't like this because it wants a type. Implicitly has any type. So you see this if you didn't type something correctly. Now, the type of this is, of course, going to be a string. So hello name. So this is an example of TypeScript here. Whenever we create a function, in the parameters, we have to declare the type of the parameter. And now let's create a greet here. Let's just change this one. And I am going to call this function greet, and I'm going to pass in Dan, just like that. And look at that, hello Dan. So I called my function here, it returned something, and then that return I was able to put into my site here. Lots of other examples. We can do calculations, we can do math here if we want to, more math. We can say 2 pi equals math pi times 2 for no reason. Okay, so of course we can do whatever we want based on that. We can, use arrays, functions. We can use objects as well. I think, let's go ahead and talk about an object here. So let's say we want to take our days of the week thing to another level here. So I'm going to have my days of the week. How about days and activities? And this is going to be an array of objects. And each object is going to have a day, Monday, comma, activity, work. Then we comma separate that. Day, Tuesday, activity, sleep. And so on and so forth. Day, oh, I need Sunday. Whoops, that was close. Day, Sunday, activity, hike, whatever. Hike, buddy. We're going to go ahead and move this up here and put a comma there. And now I've got 3 days and activities. So this is an array of objects. So let's go down and fix this now. So instead of using days of week, we'll use days and activities. And we're going to change this to days and activities 1 dot day. And then same thing here, days and activities 1 dot activity. And then we'll just copy this row, paste it here, and then we'll put 2 and 2. And hey, nothing changed actually, but if I change something up here, work a bunch. There we go, work a bunch. Sleep a little. There we go. So we can use objects as well. Objects are very, very interesting in JavaScript because it's sort of like a dictionary and an object together. So instead of using .day, the dot notation, I can even use the normal, let's look it up in a dictionary notation of brackets and string inside of there. And this works just the same exact way. There are times when you would have to use one or the other. I default to using dot notation for objects unless I have to use the other one. And one example of having to use one would be if we had one of our keys had a dash in it, for example. Then we can't call it with dot notation anymore because it treats it like a subtraction instead of a dash. So we have to put it as a string and we have to have it in brackets. I think that's enough for this one. So we went over to review, we went over using JavaScript in our HTML code. We used functions, we used arrays of objects, we used math.py, and hey, that's pretty good. We're going to get into mapping in the future, not in this video, or probably not this week, but obviously, if we have a whole bunch of stuff, we don't want to have to write 1, 2, 3. We can make it dynamic, but we won't do that in this video.